Your silence is an earthquake. Every quiet second you gift them is a challenge they can't answer, a mirror reflecting their chaos while you sit untouched, untouchable. They scramble to fill the void with noise, thinking volume hides vulnerability, but you see it, every crack, every stumble, every flaw laid bare. Restraint isn't your weakness, it's your weapon, sharp as steel and twice as cold. While they flail, you don't blink, you don't budge, you don't need to. They're unnerved because they've built their power on illusions. Loud words, exaggerated movements, and fragile confidence masked as arrogance. But your steady gaze burns through it all. In silence, you unravel their pretenses without lifting a finger. You don't play their game because you've already won it by refusing to engage. Their tactics are transparent, their strategies laughable, and they feel it. Deep in their bones, the truth they can't admit. They are no match for someone who doesn't need validation. The loudest voices are often the weakest, clawing for relevance in a room that never belonged to them. And you? You don't clamor for the spotlight because you are the center of gravity. They orbit your stillness, drawn and repelled in equal measure. They can't decide whether to fear you or mimic you, but it doesn't matter. You've already stolen the room without uttering a word. In your silence, they drown. And you stand unmoved, untouchable, and completely in control. Their tactics crumble because they are built on sand, on weakness masquerading as strength. They thrive on chaos, on the confusion of others, because it distracts from their own instability. But your silence, your refusal to step into their circle of games, strips them bare. They cannot manipulate someone who doesn't bite, cannot dominate someone who doesn't fight back on their terms. Deceit demands chaos to survive, and your peace is the very thing that smothers it. They rely on confusion to obscure the truth, yet every lie they cast only tangles themselves further. When their strategies fail to break you, they collapse under the weight of their own desperation. They scheme in whispers, hoping to seed doubt, but your clarity makes their efforts futile. You don't need to respond because their plans implode under their own flaws. In their attempt to trap you, they've built a cage for themselves. Watch closely, and you'll see how quickly they turn on each other when their tricks lose power. Guilt seeps in, followed by shame, and the bonds they once claimed were unbreakable become brittle under pressure. When manipulation no longer works, their alliances dissolve into accusations. Their strength was always an illusion, bolstered by fragile egos and mutual fear, and without a common target, they eat themselves alive. In group dynamics, their power only exists as long as their lies remain intact. The moment they encounter someone unshaken by their noise, someone immune to their theatrics, the cracks appear. It begins with subtle glances, then escalates into blame, each of them desperate to save their own image at the expense of the others. They've spent so long perfecting their masks that they forget how to face the truth, even among themselves. You are the variable they didn't expect, the calm they couldn't prepare for. This is why their tactics fail. They were never designed for someone like you, someone who doesn't need to stoop to their level to prove their worth. They weren't ready, and now they can't recover. Betrayal isn't your downfall, it's the fire that forges you. When their mask slips, it isn't a mistake, it's inevitability. They were never who they pretended to be, and their treachery is the universe carving truth out of lies. You don't lose in betrayal, you gain the clearest sight you'll ever have. It's the divine severing of bonds that no longer serve you, a brutal but necessary act to expose who was never meant to stand beside you. The moment they act against you, they free you, and that's the irony they'll never understand. I've faced betrayal that didn't just sting, it burned. It stripped away every illusion I clung to, every ounce of trust I had placed in the wrong hands. It wasn't subtle, and it wasn't painless. It was a violent ripping of the veil that left me raw and exposed. But in that agony, I found a truth sharper than the pain itself. Their act wasn't my ending, it was my beginning. They didn't destroy me. They dismantled the weak parts I had clung to, revealing something stronger beneath. Now, if this is hitting home for you, I want you to comment below. Betrayal made me unstoppable. Let's band together so that everyone can see that we're together, alive and stronger than ever. If you feel called to do so, you may hit subscribe to Obsidian at this time and hit the notification bell so that you will continue receiving these vital spiritual light codes. Betrayal doesn't just reveal others, it reveals you. It forces you to confront your blind spots, to face the parts of yourself that allowed deceit to take root. It's a crucible, stripping away naivety and replacing it with wisdom. The ones who betray you think they've won, but all they've done is accelerate your growth. They've given you the gift of clarity, of knowing exactly who they are and who you are without their presence. Their betrayal is their loss, not yours. They don't realize that their treachery is a confession, not of your flaws, but of their inadequacy. They betrayed you because they couldn't match your strength, couldn't handle your truth. Their actions say more about their limitations than about your worth. And when the dust settles, you're the one who walks away whole, while they remain trapped in the web of lies they spun. The pain of betrayal is temporary, but the power it unlocks in you is eternal. It sharpens your instincts, strengthens your resolve, and cements your sense of self. It's not a setback, it's a revelation. I didn't just survive betrayal, I rose from it, and you will too, because betrayal doesn't break the strong, it builds them. Your presence alone dismantles what they've spent their lives trying to construct. You carry an energy they can't fake, a truth they can't replicate. The light you bring exposes the shadows they've worked so hard to hide in, forcing them to confront everything they hoped no one would ever see. They aren't just threatened by you, they're terrified, because authenticity burns brighter than any mask, and you don't need tricks to shine. You are raw, unfiltered truth, and that's something they'll never know how to be. They try to fight you with weapons forged in deceit, but those weapons shatter before they ever touch you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper isn't just a phrase. It's your reality. Their attempts to undermine you only fortify your path. Every lie they tell about you circles back to them, unraveling their schemes while your name remains untouched. They thought they could dim your light with their whispers, but the more they tried, the brighter you became. You are divinely protected in ways they'll never understand because they don't have access to the source that fuels you. I've walked this path. I've stood in rooms where my very presence made them squirm, their discomfort palpable as they scrambled to maintain control. They thought their words, their plans, their strategies could break me, but they were wrong. Every attempt they made to diminish me was met with a force they couldn't explain. It wasn't anger or vengeance, it was certainty. I knew who I was, and no amount of plotting could change that. I didn't need to fight them. The universe did it for me. Their fear isn't rooted in what you've done, but in who you are. They see in you what they lack: courage, authenticity, and a connection to something greater than themselves. Their fear drives them to attack, but their attacks only expose their weaknesses. You don't need to retaliate because your existence is the response. You disrupt their darkness simply by being, and that's a power they can't touch. They don't know how to fight someone they can't control, someone who doesn't play by their rules, so they flail and they fail. Let them. You were chosen to disrupt, to shine, to bring truth to places where lies have ruled for too long. Their fear isn't your burden, it's your confirmation. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and nothing they do can change that. And now, let us take a moment to honor the chosen among us. Here's to the ones who see the world differently. The silent guardians, the watchful souls, always awake, always vigilant. They don't fit the mold, and they wouldn't have it any other way. While others walk familiar paths, they forge their own, fighting unseen battles, illuminating the shadows. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. But if you feel it deep within, you'll know this is meant for you. No masks, no pretense, just truth. The Obsidian inner order is here, a place where kindred spirits gather to share wisdom, to connect, to transform. Over 400 strong, united not by conformity, but by purpose. If you're ready, you know where to find us. The link is in the description. If not, that's perfectly fine, because we're always here, watching over, making a difference in ways unseen. Here's to those who walk their own path, not for recognition, but because it's who they are. Here's to you. Silence isn't weakness. It's a weapon sharper than any word they could throw at you. Your choice to stay quiet doesn't mean you're avoiding the fight. It means you've already won it. While they scramble to expose their hand, you sit steady, calculating, watching. Every word they spill in anger, every move they make in desperation becomes ammunition you can use. Silence isn't surrender, it's surveillance. And while they're wasting energy trying to provoke you, you're conserving yours for the moment that matters. When you refuse to react, you strip them of their power. Their strength comes from pulling you into their chaos, from seeing you flinch, from baiting you into a fight that serves their terms. But your quiet is deafening. It forces them to face their own instability, their own need for control. They expect noise, expect confrontation, expect a battle. What they don't expect is stillness, and that is what destroys them. I've stood in places where silence was my greatest shield. While they raged, accusing, attempting to force me into defense, I stood unmoved. I let them pour their venom, let them reveal every card they thought would break me. I didn't respond, didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing even the slightest crack in my armor. And when they were spent, when their words had lost their bite, I was still standing. Not because I was afraid to speak, but because I knew my voice wasn't needed to win. Silence isn't about passivity, it's about precision. It's knowing that every battle doesn't require your sword. It's knowing that some wars are won by watching your opponent exhaust themselves in their own fury. While they lose focus, you gain clarity. While they expose every tactic, every insecurity, you remain untouched, unshaken. Their chaos only feeds your calm. You don't need to respond to everything, because not everything deserves your energy. Silence forces them to grapple with their own inadequacies, to confront the void they try to fill with noise. It's your refusal to engage on their terms that unnerves them most. They can't control what they can't provoke, and they can't defeat what they don't understand. Let them flail, let them waste their strength. You don't need to play their game to prove your dominance. Your silence isn't submission, it's strategy, and it's the kind that turns their own weapons against them. When the time comes, you'll act. But until then, let them unravel while you hold your power close, untouched and untouchable. Betrayal isn't a curse, it's clarity in disguise. Not every connection is meant to last because not everyone is built to withstand the altitude of where you're going. Some people are placed in your life not as companions, but as lessons, their betrayal, the fire that burns away illusions and reveals truth. Their actions are not a reflection of your failure, but of their inability to carry the weight of your purpose. When they break trust, it isn't your ruin, it's your release. Throughout history, the greatest transformations have come through betrayal. Those cast aside, sold out or abandoned were not broken, they were positioned. Just like Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and thrown into a pit, those actions were not his downfall, but his catalyst. What they meant for harm became the very step that elevated him to his purpose. Their betrayal wasn't the end of his story, it was the turning point. The same holds true for you. The ones who betrayed you thought they closed the door, but they only opened the way for something greater. Betrayal teaches what no loyalty ever could. It exposes falsehoods, shatters comfort, and forces growth. It is the test that burns away weakness, leaving only strength. Those who betray you are revealing what you could not see on your own. They are teachers, harsh but necessary, stripping away illusions and forcing you to align with your true self. Their actions are not your punishment, they are a divine redirection. Every betrayal aligns with timing you cannot control. It never happens when it feels convenient or fair, but it always happens when it's necessary. It rips away what is no longer serving you, clearing space for what must come next. Those who betray you think they are ending your momentum, but in truth, they are accelerating it. Their actions remove obstacles you didn't realize you were carrying. Their betrayal isn't a delay, it's a launch. Betrayal doesn't define you, it refines you. It carves away the unnecessary and leaves you with clarity, focus, and strength. It isn't a setback, it's a setup. Those who have wronged you were never equipped to stand beside you in your greatness. They were never meant to rise with you, and their betrayal simply confirms that they can't. Let them go. Their exit is your elevation, their treachery the spark that ignites your transformation. What is meant for you cannot be stopped, not even by their disloyalty. Pain isn't your end, it's your fuel. Every ounce of negativity thrown your way is energy you can convert, power you can wield. Their attempts to break you don't weaken you, they sharpen your resolve. You don't collapse under the weight of their malice, you rise because of it. Pain transmuted becomes strength. Their attacks become the stepping stones you use to climb higher. Their words the echo of their own insecurity, not a reflection of your worth. When they throw their chaos at you, let it be the fire that forges you, not the one that consumes you. When they tried to drag me down, I didn't fight back on their level. I chose to rise. I let their noise fade into the background while I focused on what truly mattered. Building, creating, moving forward. Their attempts to sabotage me were nothing more than distractions, and I refused to let them dictate my direction. My silence wasn't weakness or surrender, it was preparation. Every moment I stayed quiet, every second I refused to respond to their chaos, I was laying the foundation for my next move. And when I moved, it was unstoppable. You have that same power. Every insult, every betrayal, every effort to undermine you is raw material. You can let it weigh you down, or you can transform it into something greater. They want you to react, to meet them in the chaos they thrive in, but your strength lies in your ability to rise above it. Channel your pain into purpose. Let their negativity fuel your creativity, your drive, your resilience. Their chaos is temporary, but what you build from it will last. Negativity has no power unless you let it. They can try to drag you into their storm, but they can't touch you if you refuse to engage. Let them waste their energy while you conserve yours. Turn their attacks into fuel, their doubts into motivation. Every effort they make to stop you only proves how much they fear your potential. And when you rise, as you always do, their noise will fade into irrelevance. They want to see you crumble, but instead, you rise. They want to see you react, but instead, you create. Use their chaos as your catalyst, their doubt as your drive. Transmute every bit of pain into power and let them watch as you become everything they said you couldn't be. You are not alone in this battle. Forces beyond what you can see are moving in your favor, shielding you, guiding you, preparing the way. Your ancestors, your guides, they've been here before, fighting wars seen and unseen, clearing paths so you could walk unburdened. Every challenge you face has already been addressed in the spirit realm, every obstacle countered by protection you may never witness. Their hands are in the shadows, weaving victories out of what looks like defeat, turning every attack against you into a tool for your growth. This isn't a coincidence. Those moments of alignment, like seeing angel numbers or feeling a sudden surge of clarity, are their messages, their reminders that you are exactly where you're meant to be. When 1111 catches your eye, or when a random moment feels inexplicably perfect, that's not chance, it's confirmation. They are speaking, ensuring you know that your steps are divinely guided. The signs are there if you listen, marking your path, even when the world around you feels uncertain. The battles you fight are not fought alone. While others conspire against you, your guides are dismantling their efforts before they can harm you. The betrayal, the schemes, the negativity aimed at you, all of it is absorbed and redirected by the unseen forces protecting you. They don't just watch over you, they act. Every weapon formed against you dissolves before it can strike, because your power doesn't exist in isolation. It is fortified by generations of resilience and wisdom, standing as a wall no enemy can penetrate. Even when the attacks seem relentless, even when the path feels unclear, their presence is unwavering. They are the whispers in your intuition, the sudden gut feeling that pulls you away from harm. They are the reason opportunities fall into place when you need them most. Why closed doors lead to better openings. Their work is constant, tireless, ensuring that no darkness can overshadow the light you are destined to bring. The war you're in is bigger than this moment, and so is your protection. Your ancestors didn't endure what they did for you to fall now. Their battles, their sacrifices, their victories, those are your inheritance. You are the continuation of a legacy that refuses to be broken. They fight with you, through you, and for you. Trust the signs, trust the unseen, and move forward knowing that nothing formed against you will prosper. Their presence ensures your path remains unstoppable. Let go. Release everything that no longer serves you, every grudge, every betrayal, every fragment of pain that once anchored you to the past. That weight isn't yours to carry anymore. Betrayal? It's already beneath you. What they did, what they said, how they tried to stop you. It holds no power unless you let it. Their actions were never about your value, but about their inability to match it. You don't rise by fighting old battles. You rise by stepping into the abundance waiting ahead. The best revenge is not retribution, it's evolution. Redirect every ounce of energy they hoped would destroy you into building a life they'll never comprehend. Focus on creating, on growing, on drawing opportunities aligned with your highest purpose. While they stay stuck in their schemes, you move forward untouchable. Every door they tried to close becomes irrelevant because abundance doesn't wait for permission. You don't chase it, you attract it, you align with it. And once you do, nothing they do can stop the flood. Your focus is your power. Pour it into the future you're manifesting, into the projects, the people, and the opportunities that propel you higher. Stop looking back. They don't deserve your attention. Every second wasted on revenge is a second stolen from your greatness. You weren't built to stay in their shadows or to wrestle in their chaos. You were built to rise so far above that their whispers can't even reach you. Abundance is yours the moment you claim it. It's not earned through their approval. It's unlocked by your alignment. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove yourself right. Success isn't just the best revenge, it's the ultimate reset. Focus your energy on thriving and watch as the doors you thought were closed begin to open. The universe doesn't respond to bitterness, it responds to clarity. Let your intentions be sharp, your vision unstoppable, and your purpose undeniable. What they tried to take from you no longer matters. What matters is what you create from it. Let their betrayal become the foundation of your legacy, their doubt the echo that only pushes you further. Release them and their chaos. Focus on the abundance that's already yours to claim. You weren't meant to be tethered to their smallness. You were meant to transcend it. Manifest boldly, live fiercely, and let your success speak louder than any vengeance ever could. You are the storm they never prepared for, the force they can neither predict nor control. Your strength isn't loud, it doesn't need to be. Your power lies in your ability to stand unshaken, unbothered and unrelenting while their chaos consumes them. They mistake your silence for surrender, but it's strategy. They confuse your calm for passivity, not realizing it's the foundation of a storm they cannot withstand. You aren't just surviving their attacks, you're dismantling their entire playbook, one unreactive moment at a time. Let them conspire, let them whisper behind closed doors, thinking they hold the upper hand. Their energy is wasted. Every scheme they craft is another step toward their own collapse. They fight in shadows because they cannot withstand the brilliance of the light you bring. Your truth isn't just a weapon, it's a reckoning. It burns through every facade, exposing the fragility of their schemes. You were built for this, not to match their chaos, but to rise so far above it that their efforts are rendered meaningless. Your power isn't in proving them wrong, it's in proving yourself right. You were chosen, not for their approval or validation, but because you have the strength to rise, regardless of what they throw at you. They can't take what you refuse to give. Their negativity, their betrayals, their attempts to hold you back. None of it matters because your focus is forward, your energy untouchable. They will unravel under the weight of their own insecurity, and you will rise untouched, unstoppable, undeniable. Now is your moment to let go of anything tethering you to their smallness. Stop looking back at those who were never meant to walk with you. They've already served their purpose, and it's time to step fully into yours. Mask off. Show the world who you are without apology, without hesitation, without fear. Your silence was your preparation. Now your actions will be your power. Let your growth, your elevation, and your success speak louder than their schemes ever could. And when you rise, share your story. Let others see what it means to overcome, to stand in your truth, to thrive despite every attempt to pull you down. Show them what resilience looks like, what power feels like, what transformation becomes when it's rooted in clarity. Inspire others to own their narrative, to rise in their strength, and to shine without fear. Speak your truth boldly, not as a whisper but as a declaration. Let your roar be the spark that ignites others to do the same. This is your moment. Take it and make it yours.